Well, I was hoping I was going to come down here and say good news, bad news, but it's bad news, bad news. I haven't come down home to any tiles being down in forever. And of course, it's this pain in the butt. Like I said, if that doesn't hold it, I don't know what will. Not much else I can really do. Stick it back up and hope for the best. Depending on where it lines up, I think it does come past this. I might throw a screw in there just to kind of anchor it to the bottom piece, prevent it from coming all the way off at least. As far as this, I don't know what I'm gonna do because the red tape actually surprisingly came off of the thing, the tile, which I was not expecting. It didn't before, on both sides even. So I don't know. That bracket thing I was talking about wouldn't even work out the way I was thinking it would. It almost need like a U. So yeah, I don't really know what the next solution is. Staples? Yeah, I don't know. Welcome to the 20th video. So as I said in the last video, which I can't believe is an hour long, I was not expecting that. I mean, 51 minutes, but close enough. I'm going to go through a list of things that I've realized I need to clarify or expound upon or update from watching the series thus far. So let me get on my list and start going through some stuff and film the various clips that I need, because some of it's kind of a show and tell kind of deal. Alright, yeah, it was long enough on both fronts, so I got a screw here and a screw here into this piece and this piece. Now it shouldn't go anywhere. Oh, if it does, I don't even know. We'll pretend that it's fine. So all the way back in the beginning, I was talking about an insurance claim that I put in for the water damage on my front towers and the couches and a couple other things. Ended up getting $1,345 out of them, which, considering the age of the stuff and its all depreciable market value kind of deal, wasn't bad. It mostly paid for the Ashley furniture trip, so basically the new couch that we got for upstairs. We also got a fireplace insert, the TV stand for the Sony A80J, and we got a fake live edge, like coffee table. It's more like a behind couch sofa table, but we're using that upstairs in the bedroom currently as a TV stand for the other TV, although at some point I'm going to get that mounted to the wall. So yeah, unfortunately I couldn't get any new audio equipment out of the deal, but I got the important stuff. Like I said, it mostly paid for that Ashley trip, so at least there was something. For all the inconvenience with the rug, I ended up getting a $100 gift card, which paid for my wife's desk chair, and they also installed the ceiling fan in our master bedroom for us. So, you know, it's not the money off rent that I was hoping for. A friend of ours is actually an apartment complex manager. Apparently, I don't know if it's a new law or if it's like a Michigan thing, but apparently they can't really give you money off rent, some sort of occupancy kind of deal. So if they do give you any kind of compensation, it's usually in the form of gift cards. So that's apparently normal. But at least we got something. You know, kind of over it at this point. And honestly, the rug really didn't need to be replaced. It was more that they said they were going to, and I rearranged my life planning for it, and then to having gone through all that and missing work and everything else, to then have them not do it was so of an inconvenience. Especially, you know, as a first impression kind of deal. So we never directly discussed the water. I've mentioned it a few times. But after a week or two of living here, maybe 2 or 3, where this kind of gray stuff is, more so about like halfway about right there, we had a bunch of water coming in. Now, granted, according to what I've heard, our neighbor got over a foot of water in their basement. I just always have had little puddles, and it always kind of tends to run towards the dryer and washer side of the basement, not the home theater side. So, it was concerning because we had so much stuff down here, because like I said, we were trying to keep the upstairs bedrooms and living room as empty as possible for them to be able to do the rug. So, we had a ton of furniture down here and boxes and everything else, all by Plush. But unfortunately, that stuff never really seemed to be in any kind of real danger. It's not like we got inches and inches. We had maybe an eighth to a quarter of an inch. And, maybe 20 or 30 feet. It tends to run from that corner where I showed you where it comes in to over here and under the steps. So, we had one box get wet that had a bunch of like old computer CDs and ancient graphics cards, and even none of that stuff got damaged. Just the box got soaked, the bottom of it. So it was inconvenience, and again, another bad impression, but didn't actually cause any actual issues or damage. Alright, so I've mentioned the front speakers, the mid-range, the tweeter, and the... Sorry about that, I hit the wrong button. So the front speakers, the woofer, the tweeter, and the mid-range are all fine. They do have two side-firing drivers on each tower. One is a 10-inch active subwoofer, and the other is a 12-inch passive. It's a sealed box on each side. So they had a active woofer and a passive radiator. So both of them being out, I'm losing two 10-inch actives and two 12-inch passives. So even though you can see two drivers per, only one of those is active. I'd show you, but I mean, they're in the other videos and it's pretty dark back there. You're not really missing much. Originally when I was showing off the rack, I said it was pretty dark over there, and that I was going to do something to take care of that. The thing I did to take care of that is this guy. So, didn't even really look for it, just came up as a suggested thing on Amazon. It's like a little flower LED thing. So it's also loose at the moment. I think it was 300 watt. Pretty sure it was more than 100, maybe 250. And it's adjustable. So it was a 2-pack. So I got one here and one in the garage, and it makes a world of difference down here as far as the quality and directionality of the light. Pretty happy with it. I changed my mind. Figured I'll go ahead and show you the drivers. It was easy enough. So this bottom guy down here is the active 10, or at least would have been if it worked. And that guy up there is the passive 12. At one point, there were listings on eBay. There was a guy that you could actually send the amplifiers to, and he would repair them. I think it was like a couple $100 each. But honestly, with the PB3000, and if I get my P1000 dual 10-inch from Cambridge, I'm not going to be that worried about it. I mean, I'm in an apartment complex. It's a townhouse, but still. The PB3000 throws more than enough bass for the majority of my listening needs. And that dual 10-inch kind of directly replaces the two 10-inches that I'm losing, if and when I get down to Florida to bring that back home. And I'll have, two locations for bass, which will help with room acoustics and seat-to-seat consistency and all that good stuff. I still want to get the some sort of new front speakers. I'm pretty heavily leaning towards the SVS Prime Pinnacles. Pretty happy with all their products that I've had so far. They're, pretty reasonably priced considering. And they have plenty of bass of their own. I didn't really see the value in the ultras, especially since they're a little more picky about their placement. And yeah, I got the room for them to breathe and everything, but if you're going all multiple other subwoofers, the pinnacles are more than sufficient. So getting back kind of to the insurance thing, it took 2.5 months, but I finally solved the issue of having the third part of the sectional. So it was a 3-piece sectional. There was the love seat, which I'm sitting on, and that got rescued for down here. There is the wedge that goes between the couch and the love seat. That is currently upstairs in what we're calling our plush room. It's our third bedroom. It's gonna be for like company and just storage of random convention stuff. And then there was the couch. Now the couch was sitting in the living room for a little bit because I didn't really realize it was as messed up it was till after it was in the house, and we didn't have a new one yet. But after about the first month or so, it's been living the rest of its life in the garage. Finally got someone to take it off my hands. I initially listed it at $400. Didn't go anywhere. Got a couple offers like around $100. Those all fell through. Dropped it down to $50. Was literally in the process of listing it for free when 2 college guys said, "Hey, is it still available?" And I was like, "Yep. Can we come get it in the next hour?" It's like, "Yes, please." So that's finally out of my house. Alright, one thing that is interesting to show you, I will have to power the projector up for. So give me a minute. So this is dark enough, I'm not sure how well this is actually going to pick up. Looks like it's got a little bit. This is probably pretty obvious, but the light coming out of the projector actually makes a circle. You don't really see it in practice, you know, even like just without having the screen and stuff. But yeah, there's definitely a circle cast going all the way around the hall. So even though the actual projected image part is, you know, the square, as far as what, you know, the main light is on the screen, you definitely get a circle overshoot, I guess, because, you know, I mean, it's a round lens, so the wall and having it behind it with this cutout actually helps take care of some of that light control. It's pretty minimal. You know, does it make a difference? I would assume. So it's just kind of a bonus to, you know, having your projector not in the same room and having a aperture or, you know, cutout that's just the same as your screen. Just thought that was cute or interesting in any event. While I'm back here, this is not part of my notes, but this is the run on the other side of the basement, so you can see obviously the light from that other light. That's usually not on, and it doesn't really impact the theater performance at all. Yeah, especially if I close this curtain. But at some point I do want to, hi theater, do want to go ahead and try to take care of that. Although that was actually the original plan, was to put foam and stuff up there. But this is one of the only sources of ventilation back here. The furnace is right on the other side of this wall. And considering this is still ultimately going to become the gym, when we actually can take a breather and stop spending money and get our exercise equipment. So I'm probably going to leave that open since it's not really impacting the theater any. And I'd rather have the ventilation than not. In a couple of videos I've mentioned being concerned about the subwoofer potentially rattling certain things. Thus far I haven't heard a single rattle out of anything. Not the cabinet, not the screen, which is just kind of free floating, not any of the vents. I think a large part of that has to do with the SVS sound path isolation feed that I got. So go SVS sound path isolation. That is probably going to be a future video. I did kind of want to do like a comparison, both measurements and acoustically, with and without the feet on. I did something similar at the old house just for myself. I didn't record any of it. And yeah, it definitely made a big difference as far as what rattled on the wall. I still had rattle because it was a really tiny room and a lot of fragile things and little cabinets on the wall. But yeah, down here, I haven't really heard it without the feet being on. And it's just nice, clean, tight bass. So, like I said, I'll probably want to do a video. Well, I want to do a video on that. I'm not sure if that's going to be part of the theater series or just kind of a separate thing on the channel later on. But I don't know when I'll do it, but that's something to be looking out for. I think it'll be interesting. I mentioned that the center shelf that I built for my center channel was a little wobbly. I ended up fixing that with just throwing some of those 3M foam sticky double-sided pads on it. So I just peeled off the sticky stuff on the one side, stuffed it onto the shorter foot. That was one that was just a little shorter than the rest. And that's pretty much taking care of that. I kind of briefly mentioned it in one of the other videos, but I was going to introduce you to the Movie Squad plush. So like I said, right now we got Gizmo there, Darkwing over there, Fievel's chilling in the back. But I got like, oh geez, I don't even know, other movie characters. I got yeah, Simba and Nala from Lion King, and I'm really drawing a blank. Oh, Stitch and Angel from Lilo and Stitch. I got Tank. No, not Tank. Turk and Tantor from Disney's Tarzan. I got them floating around somewhere. I'm sure there's others. Once I find everybody and bring them down and spread them around, I'll introduce you to the crew. So when I was doing the attachment of the back wall, I said I wasn't really sure what I was going to do about the foam, because the strips obviously are, I need to turn that projector off, but the because of how I mounted this section of wall, the strips that are anchoring it to the beam hang down. So what I ended up doing, instead of like redoing the foam or moving the foam, I just cut the strips. So originally they were going like to here and here or something like that. So I just cut them back. They still have more than enough anchor points to hold it up there. It hasn't moved or shimmied or vibrated or anything. So not real worried about that. At some point I do still want to secure it with a piece of wood across the back. Funny enough, I talked about this story that we got from the in-laws, brother-in-law, more to the point, for the cat to be able to come down here while actually keeping the door shut for sound reasons. It came with this frame. I'm assuming that's how they sold it. So now I have more wood. So what I'm thinking is, as I move away from the loud fan, what I'm thinking is I can take those and put one strip on the bottom of the wall to kind of stabilize that, although it doesn't really seem like it needs it, and another strip up here behind to help tie all those together, because I'm still having issues where they, like, you know, flex and come apart a bit. So that'll give it at least an anchor point. And I can actually sit on top of the screen edge, which there's some space back there as it is anyway. But if I do end up moving the screen back a little, it'll have even more room to sit on. So that's some future plan. I mean, I've been talking about cleaning up the wiring, doing the U-nails, cable tying it and stuff like that. I haven't touched any of that yet. It's still all just loosey-goosey. The only one I definitely for sure need to do is the left rear surround. Need to tack it up to the ceiling so it's not just hanging there and resting on the decorative folding screen thing. So that one has to get done because it's visible and it's actually, you know, in the way. The rest of them, it's more for my own personal sanity and aesthetics in places people aren't going to see it. I mean, you can't see any of those cables. They're all up in the ceiling and behind the curtains. I still want to do it. You know, same thing with this stuff over here, the Govee Glide lights and stuff like that. They're a mess. But it's not an immediate need because you can't actually see them. So, see, speaking of the air conditioner, it's a nice little tech house I'm starting to get here. You know, I installed my Ring video doorbell. That actually went a lot smoother than I expected. I went ahead and got the deal that Consumer Energy offers for the Nest thermostats. So I got the 3rd gen learning thermostat for like $40, and it came with a Google Home Mini. So I hooked that up. That actually went super smoothly. Considering how tight the wires were on the old one, I thought it was going to be a problem, but no, it just hooked right up. I did hook up the common wire because it was there and it didn't turn on. So the common wire is in the wire loom, but I don't think it's connected on the air handler side. So I ended up pulling that off and just doing the traditional 4-wire, well, modern 4-wire in any event. And it works. I haven't had any voltage drops. It hasn't turned off or died or anything like that. The reason I bring that up is because that's why the fan is running. It's nice having the fan circulate air just so the house is a more consistent temperature. But, you know, usually it's either auto or on. And auto will run when you're running the heat of the air, but we don't really do that often, especially if, you know, we're pretty comfortable with the temperature most of the time. And I don't want the fan running all the time because that's how the stuff burns itself out, and they do pull quite a bit of energy. So with the Nest, you can actually have the fan cycle. So right now we have it set to run, I think, 15 or 20 minutes every hour. So much better. But that's why it comes on, you know, so much. Speaking of consistency in the house, I got these tiny little cheap thermostats. Well, thermometers from Amazon. It was a 4-pack. So I can keep track of humidity and temperature in the various rooms, just so I can kind of gauge how well it's doing. Between, let's say, I got the living room where we actually sit, you know, where the TV is, which is kind of on the opposite side of where the thermostat is. I got one down here, I got one in the bedroom, and I got one in my office. Because that was the other issue we were having when we moved in. There was actually a piece of duct missing. I can actually go show you that real quick. So this trunk here, this vent didn't exist. So that's the trunk up to our master bedroom. I just was spilling out into the basement. No airflow at all up there. So, you know, the thermostat would turn off because it was plenty cool down here, and it was like 7 degrees hotter up there. So I got those to kind of see what room did what. To kind of, 1, prove there was an issue, and 2, just out of my own curiosity. But they're still handy to keep track. Apparently you can get wireless alternate temperature sensors for the Google Nest. So you can have it like use a remote temperature in your bedroom between certain times of day, and then use like the main sensor downstairs for other times of day. But they want like $60 for it, which seems like a ripoff. But something to maybe consider down the road someday. Also in relation to the air conditioner, there's a couple of videos they mentioned where they had to fix it. It was making a weird noise, and I couldn't get it to duplicate when they were here. So just kind of as a just in case, they replaced the blower motor. And then a few days later in another video I was talking about them replacing the cool down motor. So there are 2 different fans in there, which made sense because, like I said, I mean, you'd hear one spin up and it was fine, and then you'd hear a different one spin up, make noise, and I told them all this at the time. And then, yeah, the bad one would turn off and the other one would sound normal. But so they replaced the cooldown, or the actual blower motor, which did not solve the issue. Turns out that there is a cooler motor that cools down the chimney and the ductwork when the heat is running. There was a short circuit in the wire connector and the harness to the circuit board, which was causing that fan to trip and turn on, even with the system being completely off. And that's what had the bad bearings. So once they replaced that, it's been fine. So I got two new fans out of the deal. They had said at this point they kind of wish they just replaced the whole unit, because they basically replaced everything, and it probably would have been cheaper. But so far, no further issues with it since they did all that, which is good going in the winter. At one point I said that the rear surrounds were being crossed over at a higher frequency. And I wasn't really sure why, because they were the exact same speakers, exact same wiring. I didn't really think of it at the time, but they are actually coming out of a different amplifier. The left and right surrounds are coming out of the 7055. The rear surrounds are coming out of the SR9300. But that's not what I think the issue is. I think that since those are behind the listening position, the lower frequencies might be getting killed by the couch, because I do have them lifted up, but not all the way up, and line of sight to the mic. That's a good bet as to why Odyssey is detecting those as a higher rollover than what they should be. So I'll rerun Odyssey, because I need to anyway, and then if it does it again, I'll just manually set them to the same as the side surrounds. Speaking of Odyssey, I did say in that video that I was concerned about how MP3s were sounding, and I wasn't really sure it was doing what it should be doing. I haven't A/B compared them during many movies, but with it on, with that first initial run, I mean, we've done Twister, we've done Flatliners, I watched My Little Pony Next Generation down here, I've done Ghostbusters, I've done a couple things at this point, and with movie content it sounds perfectly fine. I'm not really hearing any of the weird frequency issues, you know, the warble, things like that. I did have to definitely adjust the levels to get things more in line. I did that by ear, so I don't know if it's, you know, quote unquote right, but yeah, Odyssey sounds fine with movies, so I'm gonna leave it running. But like I said, I do want to rerun it now that I have a better idea of what I'm doing, and I know that that switch was in the wrong position on that left speaker and everything else. We already did mention the Hearthstone Bundle, but I'll reiterate it here because it's on my list. I went ahead and got the 6-month sub to WoW, because just the mount and the Hearthstone goodies they were offering was a savings of $67, not even factoring in any of the WoW time. So I went ahead and did that. I'm actually tempted to buy some more mercenary packs, because like I said, I'm enjoying mercenaries quite a bit, but I'm also liking just leveling up the cards and getting coins, you know, the hard way, and not actually buying it. So to be determined. And really the only thing I had on here was I have measurements from before the curtains went up and the sound panels, and I have measurements after, but I haven't really looked at them or compared them on screen yet. So at some point, and again, I'm not really sure when, maybe when I rerun Odyssey, and I'll have the three, you know, before acoustical treatments, after acoustical treatments, pre-Odyssey, post-Odyssey. Maybe just part of that video where I compare all 3 or 4 versions of those measurements. Like I said, unfortunately, I never level matched anything initially, so the relative volumes aren't really going to match up, but at least we can see frequency trends. So it might be interesting, might not. But that is also some future video where I actually revisit the measurements I've taken and kind of compare them to where we were to where we are now. That's everything I had on my list. There was something that came up in a video after I made the list that I was going to write on the bottom, but of course I never did. So I don't remember what it was at this point. Could have been something with the lampshades, could have been something with... I don't know, doesn't really matter. If it's important, I'll come up with it later. I had a hell of a day at work today. It was my first day back. But between being the day before Halloween, and rivalry week between MSU and Michigan State, everybody was buying like 10 and 12 bottles of booze, and it was a madhouse. I'm sure tonight's not going to be any better, so I'm pretty exhausted. I thought I might do some stuff down here, but honestly, at this point, it's already like 10:30. At least I already had food. But my options are screwing around with the shade again, which does not sound fun. And I'm not even really sure where to go with it at this point. Or messing with the projector hole, and I'm not really sure I want to mess around with the box cutter and the cardboard right now, because I do enough cutting boxes at work. So I think I'm just going to go upstairs, finish the rest of my Seagram's red, white, and blue wine cooler, play some Hearthstone, and relax. The room's in a comfortable place. I can enjoy movies down here. From this angle, I can't see that I haven't finished that ceiling. I can't see that I haven't done anything with the gym lighting or the gym 3D art panels. I can see these things, which is annoying me. But, I can't see my projector hole. It's in a good spot. I want to go upstairs and relax. And I'll get to the little piddly projects as I go. I think... Was it 17 or 18? I think it was 17. Hell, it might even be 16. Just went live. So I have at least one more uploaded to YouTube. I have the near hour-long one to actually render, which is going to take forever. Probably do that after I go to bed tonight. After I play Hearthstone, so it can just render when I'm asleep. So I have that one to upload. And then I'll have this one, which I think I'm just going to leave with the Q&A, even though I asked the questions myself. If you guys do have any questions, all 20 of you that are watching this video, free to post them. The only person that's been commenting so far is Keeping Up with the Joneses, which I appreciate. Bumped into him on Youthman's channel, I think, and a couple other places. Possibly FOMO. I don't even remember at this point. Cool dude, though. Glad he's following along. Hey. My one fan so far. Oops. Oh, there my remote works. I just changed the color temperature. I actually kind of like that. It's neat. So that's the warmest red that it goes. I can go, annoying LED blue if I want to. But who wants that? I usually keep it just in the warm white. That makes it feel too old-fashioned. Those for movie theater is actually probably a good place to leave it, honestly. These curtains and especially the black really eats up a lot of light. I mean, even on max brightness, it's way darker down here than it used to be. But I mean, it's fine. I don't need a lot of light to see what I'm doing. But anyway, I'm gonna call it. This is just a fun little update. We made it to video 20. I never really thought it was going to be that long, but when you're documenting things as you go and you're running into issues, that's kind of what you'd get. Next video likely will be, hopefully, crossing fingers, finalizing these stupid shades, or going a completely different route. I don't know. But I would like to make these work. They look alright. Projector hole. Maybe Odyssey. Maybe gym lighting. I don't know. And I gotta do the spirals too. But yeah, I mean, essentially the theater is done. we're just in the tweaking and making it pretty stage. So it's not really a whole lot more content left here. But, you know, ultimately, long term, I would like to get more equipment in, whether just to test myself. I doubt anyone's ever going to send me anything to review anytime soon. We need like way more followers than I'm getting. And it's going to be probably a year or two before I can even get the Valencia seats that I want. So, plus everyone and their mother has those on YouTube anyway. It's not like they're anything that you haven't seen before. But this is my home. The brother-in-law apparently came over today and was like, whatever. He likes the TV a lot. But he's not really in the projector thing, he said. I don't know. This is what my wife said. I was at work, so I didn't really hear it firsthand. And, I mean, he's not like this. It's not like she was able to turn it on or anything. I need to show her how to do that. So, I don't know. Is it impressive? It looks good. It sounds even better. But just, seeing an empty theater. And he's a man of little words. I'm not that surprised that he wasn't impressed. Or he could just be jealous. Who knows? Don't care. I did it for me and my family, not for him. So yep, that's how to kill a Cobra battery. Started at like 90%, it's down to like 37. And this video is not all that long. Relatively, at least. But yep, that'll be it for this one. Thanks for your support, and hopefully you found it at least entertaining, if not informative. Try to strike some kind of balance there. Really appreciate you watching and coming along on this journey for me. It's been fun to document. Oh yeah, hi Convoy. I know you are watching these too. Even though you haven't commented any, but that's okay. I still love you. So yeah, I'm rambling. I'm gonna go play Hearthstone and I'm going to relax. Thank you for coming. Have a good night.